Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. My name is Tony, this is Guitar Playalongs. Here it's all about guitar practice, and since there are a lot of practical videos on my channel, today I will give you 5 of my favorite tips and tricks on how to improve your practicing. So if you know the play-alongs on my channel and have tried them for yourself, then you have a quite good understanding of the way I practice and the way I recommend practicing. The 5 tips of today will further outline this whole perspective, and there will be a bonus tip at the end of the video. I think you should be aware of this one as well. That's why I stick to the end of the video. Let's start with tip number 1, consistency. Consistency is key. I talk to so many people who never ever reach the point on where their practice can really pay off for them just because they are switching exercises or topics too often, because they are just jamming all the time, because they are writing original music. That's all fine. I do this myself on a daily basis. But if you really want to improve a certain technique or you want to learn a certain piece, you need to put the work into it. It is so important to understand that it takes some time for your brain to process what you are practicing and what you are programming into your brain and your muscles. Let's say I want to improve on my alternate picking. I set a time frame from, let's say, 3 to 6 months. And in this time, I will focus on a certain technique. For example, alternate picking. And then I will do my practice plan, which is 90 minutes a day, at the moment at least, 6 days a week, 6 times 90 times 3, 108 hours of practice. But I know for sure after this time I will see a significant improvement on my alternate picking, my legato, whatever I am focusing on. So please be aware, embrace the fact that it takes time, and do it. Just do it. It works. It works for me, it worked for others, and it will work for you as well. This leads us to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is know your goals. What is it exactly you want to put your time into? What is it exactly you want to practice? What technique do you want to improve? What guitar solo you want to learn? What licks do you want to learn? Or what piece of music you want to learn? There are thousands of things you can do in your practice time, but be aware that your time is limited. So I highly recommend that you know exactly what you want to spend your time on. I stick to my example with the alternate picking. When I want to improve on my alternate picking, I collect different licks, solos, scale sequences, arpeggios, whatever. So one day maybe I take the C major scale, the next day D Dorian, the next day I have an arpeggio sequence, a chord sequence, triads, whatever. I try to alternate pick everything, and the main point here is we want to keep it slow because we want to recreate and we want to achieve perfect repetitions. We are investing a lot of time so that we can have perfect repetitions. Having said that, it is always a great idea and a very smart way of practicing if you are doing the fundamentals. However, your goal is do the fundamentals. That means in my example, alternate picking, I will do picking sequences where I play 1 note per string, 2 notes per string, or even 3 notes per string. I go through this with a certain routine, and maybe I even only use the right hand without fretting, just holding the strings so they do the percussive noise, and I do 1 note per string, 2 notes per string, 3 notes per string, and just going through the picking movement. Tip number 3 is change things up. I am not the biggest fan of doing the exact same exercise day by day. That's why I try to There was a cat Oh, she got a mouse. Oh, that's crazy. Can you please leave the room with your mouse? Thank you. That's the funny side fact if you live in a farming house and there are a lot of animals around, cows, horses, goats, even more cows, cats everywhere, and a studio mouse. God. Tip number 4 is get a teacher, at least from time to time. You're looking for someone who is ahead of your own playing. You're looking for someone who can bring something new to the table, change your perspective on the way you're playing. Someone who can look at your playing, listen to your playing, and can give some individual help and advice. Sometimes the smallest hint can really make a difference. Sometimes it's just a little, maybe the pick angle, or maybe you build up some tension you don't even realize, but a very experienced player can hear it and can see it. So from time to time, it's great to check into someone who can help you with your playing. This can even be a friend, or doesn't need to be a teacher, but just someone you can talk to and someone you can ask for and advice from time to time. Tip number 5 is use play-along videos. This sounds like a self-plug, doesn't it? Yes and no. No. It makes totally sense to use guitar play-along. Doesn't need to be mine, can be any guitar play-along you find online, but it should make sure that you play at the right speed. And this can differ from guitarist to guitarist, from topic to topic, but a good and useful guitar play-along makes sure that you're not playing too fast. Remember, we want to achieve perfect repetitions, and therefore it is necessary that we stay in control of what we are doing, and that's why the speed of the exercises should not be too high. Second, it is very easy that playing to guitar play-alongs can become a routine. And routine is what practice is all about. We want consistency, we want a fixed routine we can work through, and play-along videos can really help at this point. Next, guitar play-alongs can give you a structure of what to practice, a structure when it comes to a certain technique. It can always make sure that you do more repetitions that you would normally do. That means if you start a play-along, let's say alternate picking the pentatonic scale, and the play-along goes 5 minutes, chances are that these are more repetitions than you would do just to the metronome or just on your own. And finally, play-along videos can change things up for you. They force you to play in different keys, play different scales, play different sequences, scales, arpeggio shapes, boxes, patterns, whatever. And this can be really, really beneficial. Finally, the bonus tip. The bonus tip is a bit special because I want you to not fool yourself. Fooling yourself happens when you watch videos on YouTube on how to practice guitar or how to learn something in, let's say, music theory. Watching the videos on its own will not work. You have to put it to a test. Let's say you see a video about music theory and the relation between the scale and the chords, diatonic. Try it. It's great to watch the video, it's great to understand what's said, but it's so important to bring it to your instrument and really learn with your instrument and not just by watching the video online. Alright, if some of today's tips are helpful for you, please make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment. Do you have any more tips you want to share with us? Feel free to do so in the comment section down below. I'm really interested in reading your recommendations. So have a nice day. Keep on practicing. See you next week. Bye.